This is the Big Bad Boot.
We're siblings who explore spooky and scary stories, urban legends, tall tales, and true crime, all located in this crazy state that's shaped like a boot. A podcast about the weird state you wish you were from.
Hosted by the weird siblings you wish you had.
I'm very excited about what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
Because this is hearkening back to 4th grade Katie.
Nice. Great.
This episode, what does that mean? I was a fun time in 4th grade.
Yeah.
Harry Potter had just come out. I
Yep.
had a lot to talk about.
You were a hoot. A hoot and a half.
I was nice.
Reading to your stuffed animals and nose in a book.
That's all I did.
But
And
you're
you,
smart.
Thank you.
Average intelligence.
What is it? Flint McMissile, British intelligence.
Tomater. Average intelligence.
Yes. But this goes back to 3rd grade Katie, 4th grade Katie, because
Okay.
I wrote a book report on this person.
Nice.
And the first person to tell me this story was our mom.
Aw.
And
So
I think
dusty.
you're really going to like this story because it's got everything.
Okay.
It's got the human spirit.
Nice.
It's got bravery.
Mm.
It's got the innocence of a child.
Okay.
And it's got
Okay.
a superhero teacher.
Nice.
So I think you're going to like it.
I'm in for it.
All right.
I'm ready.
Hold on.
Cheers.
Cheers. This we're drinking the House Marg from Gnarly Barley. It's delicious.
I like to drink with Katie because Katie is my mate. I like to drink with Katie because she downs it all in 8, 7, 6.
Nope,
5,
you're not going to
4.
get me with that. He's done it before, and I'm not falling for it.
Man, college.
Because if I would have drank all of that, A, I would be burping for the next 6.5 minutes. And B, I would be like crying by page 2, and we don't want that. So I'm going to do a slow sippy. I'm a
Okay.
slow sipper. But you ready?
I'm ready. I was
Okay.
born ready.
So this is a quote from a woman who is now 69 years old.
Okay.
And in this quote, she's describing her memories from one particular day in New Orleans when she was 6 years old.
Okay.
She says, I remember the knock at the door. My parents opened the door and 4 very tall white men were standing there. I remember they had these yellow bands on their arms, and my thought then was, who are they? I then remember them saying, we are U.S. Marshals, and we've been sent by the President of the United States, and we are here to escort you and your daughter to school today. Do you know who this is?
I do.
Okay. On this day, which was November 14th, 1960, a 6-year-old from New Orleans became one of the first African-American children to attend an all-white elementary school. And U.S. Marshals had to escort her and her mother safely to school amidst a huge crowd of angry protesters.
For
This
what?
is, right, we'll get into it. This is the story of a brave little girl who helped change the world. This is civil rights icon Ruby Bridges.
She is an icon, and she is the moment.
She is the moment, and she's fabulous. Like, I've been looking up all of her socials, her website. She's fabulous.
Man, what I wouldn't give to like Kiki with Ruby frickin' Bridges.
Yeah, she's an innovator. She's an icon. She's doing all kinds of stuff. And I feel
Whoa.
like if you know either everything about her story or you know nothing. Like, I feel there's 2
Right.
different camps. It's not,
Right.
she's not someone that people are kind of vaguely familiar of. However,
Okay.
most people are visually familiar with her and they don't even know it because
Of that one picture.
the Norman Rockwell
Yeah.
painting. There is a famous painting by Norman Rockwell, who's one of the most famous artists in
Oh, yeah.
American history, who painted a picture of a young African-American girl where all you see is her and then the feet and the legs of white men around her
Mhm.
walking into a school. And it was called The Problem We All Live With. That was what it was titled.
Nice.
That is Ruby Bridges. So I think this is one of my most favorite pieces of Louisiana history is this person. So,
Good for her. And she's still like,
oh, she's still kicking butt and taking names and changing the world. She's an
man,
activist.
Ruby, Auntie Ruby,
If you're listening,
it would be my honor to take you out for dinner or a drinky poo.
and he will pay for it.
I'd gladly. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I would love to talk to her just for a second.
Yeah.
What an icon.
Yeah, she's fabulous. And after this, you're gonna like love her even more.
I can't wait.
This is a feel good one.
Okay, good.
So my sources for today are an episode of the podcast A Slight Change of Plans titled A 6-Year-Old Changes History.
Ooh.
The book The Story of Ruby Bridges by Robert Coles, which our mom had in her classroom, by the way.
Oh, that's true.
An article from The Guardian by Steve Rose titled Ruby Bridges, the 6-year-old who defied a mob and desegregated her school. And
you better
when I
work.
say literal, it was a literal mob, and we'll get into that. An article on 64parishes.com titled The New Orleans School Crisis. And, of course, Wikipedia.
Dude, the all-knowing.
The
Wikipedia.
all-knowing, all-seeing Wikipedia. We love you. Here's a little backstory. So Ruby was the oldest of 5 kids, and she was born on September 8th, 1954.
Okay.
Her parents were named Lucille, get
Love.
into it,
Love.
and Abon.
Abon.
Abon, A-B-O-N.
I like
I do too.
That's different.
Abon. I don't think it's
Man.
biblical. I'll have to look it up. I don't think it's biblical, but I could be wrong. It might be. But Lucille and Abon, they were working farmers from Tylertown, Mississippi, but when Ruby was 2, her family moved to New Orleans in search of more work opportunities. Her mom, it says, was a domestic worker, so I'm assuming she either like cleaned houses or like cooked for people, whatever that
Right.
may be. And her dad was a gas station attendant
Okay.
who was also a Korean War veteran.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you for your service,
Thank you
sir.
for your service, Ruby's dad, Abon Bridges. So again, she was born in 1954, which was actually a really pivotal year in U.S. history.
Okay.
Do you know why?
No, tell me.
So it was the year that the Supreme Court ruled in the Brown versus Board of Education in Kansas, which made segregated schools unconstitutional.
Okay.
So that did not happen until 1954. But of course, that did not happen immediately.
No. And that also is so weird to think about.
It is.
Like,
There's
1954, historically, was not that long ago.
you took the words right out of my mouth.
So, like, that's disgusting and horrifying,
Mhm.
first of all. I've always said, I don't see how a person, which down here we're in the Bible Belt, bunch of
Mhm.
God-fearing Christians,
Hold
which
my mule while I
I am
shout.
as well, for sure. But I don't see how you could be blatantly racist
And
and
claim
then
to
go to church.
no. You took the words right out of my mouth.
It's 2024. If you're racist, homophobic, any of the ists or ips, get over yourself.
If whatever you subscribe to requires that you actively hate another person,
Literally.
I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm not interested.
And don't hide behind your religion either, because the
That's
God I
not-
serve was a God of love.
and
Where's my mule?
hold it.
Somebody hold it.
He's
'cause
gotta shout.
I'm about to preach.
I was going to let you.
No, go before I
All right.
start.
So, like I said, it took a while for that to trickle down to the southern states because the people in power in the South like vehemently tried to keep this from happening.
Right. Good word.
Thank you. It's because from all the books I read when I was in 4th grade.
Average and delicate. Because I don't even know what that means, but I love it.
And so these states were stubbornly refusing to act upon it.
Hmm.
In 1957, 9 African-American children enrolled in a school in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it caused such an uproar that President Eisenhower had to call in federal troops to escort the kids into the school.
They were called the Little Rock Nine.
Look
Right?
at you.
Okay.
You did read books.
Well, I have a couple of
Yeah.
history minor.
Yeah. So that had already happened in
Okay.
1957. It is now 1960 when
Okay.
Ruby comes onto the scene.
3 years later.
3 years later. So the New Orleans School Board is still fighting tooth and nail to keep integration from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Them, along with like thousands of angry white people, which love that grouping of people.
Get over yourself.
They tried resisting, postponing, and defying the court order in every single way that they could. School board members even asked the governor to intervene and asked him to close the schools instead of integrating them. They were like, we'd rather our kids not go to school at all than you integrate.
So quite literally, we would rather our kids be uneducated
Mm-hmm.
because you're already ignorant as hell
Right.
in your mindset. So sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I don't know why I've always been fascinated with stories of the people who helped push like integration, like desegregation, because it's like I think of these people as like heroes because
Yeah.
this time period was not easy to live in if you were
No.
African American. It's why I love movies like Remember the Titans. Why are you rolling your eyes?
Because where is this going?
In Virginia, high school football is a way of life. It's bigger than Christmas Day. My daddy coached in Alexandria.
Katie.
He worked so hard, my mama left him. But I stayed with Coach. He needed me on that field. I've watched that movie probably
I want to go home.
Sorry.
I thought that was going to go on forever.
I could have.
I know you could have.
So I love these stories like Remember the Titans.
Right.
Where it's
Which
stories.
actually, all jokes aside, is amazing.
It is a great movie. People doing everyday, that seem like everyday things, like going to school, playing football, but they're like changing the world.
Right.
I love this. So New Orleans was like, hey, you got to integrate schools. Like a federal judge passes an order that says, y'all got to do this now and y'all better
Right.
start moving. Okay.
Right.
But New Orleans they weren't going to make it easy. Okay. So the school district created an entrance exam for all African American students to see whether or not they could, quote, compete academically at an all-white school.
That's inherently racist right there.
Yeah.
Because you're asking a group of people who at the time were historically less educated.
Disenfranchised.
Thank you. Disenfranchised people, not by their own choice.
Right.
Do you like cookies, cakes, and other sweet treats? Or are you a complete psychopath? Of course you're not a psychopath.
Of course you're not a psychopath.
So let me turn you on to one of the best bakeries this side of the Mississippi. Say hello to Batter, a bakery that is changing the game. Located in the historic downtown Hammond, Louisiana, Batter serves up a variety of mouth-watering treats that will please anyone at your table. From their TikTok famous cookies and cakes to my personal favorite, the homemade Pop-Tarts. Oh,
Aren't
the
they?
homemade Pop-Tarts.
Oh, God.
Abby,
don't walk. Run.
To get their Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Abby and her team have mastered the art of the sweet baked treat, and they're ready to share it with you. They've got cakes, cookie cakes, cupcakes, brownies, Pop-Tarts, and even gluten-free options. You can visit their bakery in person in Hammond, Louisiana, or they can ship their goodness right to your door. Visit Eat Batter today and explore their mouth-watering menu. Why settle for the ordinary when you can indulge in something extraordinary? Treat yourself today. Batter Bakery, chic, simple, sweet.
That was nice.
It was good, right?
Batter really is the diggity.
Is the bomb.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I have to play tennis so I'm not 150 pounds, which Abby Caswell, if you're listening to this, she be praying on my downfall because she will bring some of her treats to tennis.
It's part of her tennis strategy.
And
we're falling for it.
I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm okay with it.
The cookies are like special in a way that they're thick and they taste undone in the best way.
Like, oh my Lord.
Like,
have you ever had one of her cinnamon rolls?
See, that's Dad's favorite.
Oh my Lord.
But
oh my God.
I like the Pop-Tart the best.
The Pop-Tarts are amazing.
The Pop-Tarts are good. So Abby, thank you. Thank you for sponsoring. We love you.
And thank you for my shirt. I love you so much.
But they made this test like virtually impossible to pass.
Of course they did.
However,
it's disgusting.
Almost 150 Black first graders took the exam. 6 students passed. Ruby Bridges was one of them.
That breaks my heart, though. That's
right.
I don't know.
So Ruby, again, we have to remember she was 6 years old. She was a baby. She was in kindergarten last year at her school, an all-Black school. So she's now going to the first grade.
That's the age of like my nephew Clay.
Yeah. You're a baby. You're a literal baby. And I think we forget that because this story has so much weight to it culturally. Right. This was a 6-year-old.
That's so
And I'm going to remind you of that as the story goes on because I think it's
Okay.
important.
Yeah.
So she takes the test, she passes. So the NAACP shows up at her house after she passes the test to try to convince her parents to send her to an all-white school. Because, of course, there were still, black schools, white schools, but they were integrating the all-white school. Not that, other people couldn't go to the school she was at, but the court order, the federal judge order it was 2 schools that they were going to pick.
Right.
And they were going to send black students to
Okay.
to force people to integrate.
Right.
So the NAACP is like, we got to find people who are brave enough and willing to do this.
My girl Ruby.
So they go to her parents, they try to convince them, and her parents are torn. Her mom, of course, is apprehensive, but wants her daughter to go because she wants her daughter to have opportunities that she and her dad did not have.
Right. Like every parent.
Right. She was
Yeah.
like, this is a literal better school in every way by the means of education, better facilities, books, more access to resources.
Right.
She needs to go to this school.
Right.
Her dad was not really on board at first because
Well, I mean, that is, I get it.
That's
his baby girl.
understandable.
Yeah.
because he was acutely aware of what racism and being segregated was really like, because we got to remember he was a Korean War veteran.
Okay.
And Ruby talks about how when he was in the war, he was reminded all the time just how separate things really were, because he would go on the battlefield and fight with white people,
Yeah.
protect, they would protect each other.
Protect the country that is
Right.
super duper unfair and racist to him.
And then they would get back to the barracks and they couldn't eat together. They couldn't sleep in the same building. They couldn't use the same toilets. So it was like, we need you to do all of this out here, but when we get back.
Do all of this out here alongside of us.
Right.
It.
So her dad was acutely, what am I trying to say? He was acutely aware of the reality of what was going on.
He was a realist.
But ultimately, they decide, we're going to send her. We'll do it.
Okay.
So they tell the NAACP, we'll send her. She passed this test. We'll send her.
Okay.
Ruby's mom did not tell her any details about what was going on.
Okay.
That she simply told her, listen, you're going to a new school tomorrow and you better behave.
Okay.
Ruby says that's all her mom told her. So she said, I grew up in a time where children were seen, not heard, and you did whatever your parents told you to do.
So if you were a child of color, you definitely weren't seen or,
And she said, when my mom said, you're going to a new school and you better behave, all I was focusing on was not misbehaving.
Right.
So I wouldn't get in trouble. And in her mind, it's like, oh, I'm just going to a new school because it's first grade. Like
Right.
she didn't realize what was going on outside the doors of her home.
Okay.
But the morning of the first day, Ruby said she knew something was different. And I love this part of the story because it speaks to just how pure and innocent kids are,
Mhm.
and how in her brain something else was happening other
Right.
than the scary and ugly realities of the outside world. So neighbors and relatives the house is full of people when she wakes up, which was
Okay.
not happening when she went to kindergarten. So
Right.
she's like, what's going on? People had helped buy her new clothes. She had all brand new clothes and shoes that had never happened before. They were doing her hair. She had a ribbon in her hair, and people were congratulating her parents and patting her dad on the back. And she's like, I couldn't figure out why. All I knew is that I took this test, I passed it, and I was told I was one of 6 kids that passed it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the morning I'm supposed to go to a new school, all these adults are here.
Mm.
I got a new outfit on, and I'm laughing because it really is a cute sentiment. And she says this in so many interviews. She thought that she was a genius and that she took a
Period.
test to send her from kindergarten to college. So she
Work.
thought that all of these people had come to her parents' house to congratulate them and be like, your daughter's a genius. She thought this new school she was going to was college.
And what's crazy is what she was doing was more important than that.
Yes.
In her head, yeah, I'm going to college, but what you're about to do is literally going to be in history books.
Yes.
That's so cool.
And that just that endears me to her even more, is
Mhm.
that in her little 6-year-old brain, she's like, well, dang, I guess I'm a genius, and
Right.
I guess I gotta go take these exams and go to college now
Right.
because I passed this test that all these people are telling me was really important, and all these people are here, and I got brand new shoes on, so I must be doing something important like going to college,
Good for her.
right?
That's sweet.
So U.S. Marshals then come to her front door, and
Okay.
she says in her mind, you got to remember she's little bitty.
Yeah.
And this is the first time she's ever seen a white person at her house. And they're huge, tall, muscular U.S. Marshals that are sent by the president. And they come to escort her and her mom to school, which was only a few blocks away from her house. And she said they got into this big car. And what she remembers is that the men never talked to her directly. They talked to her mom. Her mom went with her. They put them two in the back seat of the car,
Mm.
and they addressed only her mom. And they say things like, you let us get out of the car first, then you and your daughter get out, then 2 more of us will get out behind you and surround you. You walk straight to the front of the school and through the front doors. You don't look back. You don't engage with anybody. You don't look around you. You just walk. And again, she was like, dang, I guess college is serious. Like, in her little 6-year-old mind, this was nothing sinister. This was
Right.
nothing.
But what's sad is, pardon my French, this is a whole bunch of bullshit
Right. No,
for
you're right. It is.
for this little girl to go to school. It's
Literally
just
just to go to first grade.
it blows my mind.
Mhm.
And it was when people are like, it was a different time and blah blah
I
blah. Shut up. Like, no. Sorry.
Right.
It was a different time, but like
It doesn't make it right.
exactly. Like you are who you were raised to be, and it goes back to
But you can also make your own decisions.
correct. But
Yes.
you should not be able to be inherently hateful to a whole group of people and then claim that you're still a decent person.
Simply based on the color of their skin, right?
It's
It's
it's one of those things where I cannot grasp
our
it
brains can't fathom it. Yeah.
at all. It's idiotic.
So they turn a corner in the car and she sees these huge crowds of people, police on horseback,
Hmm.
barricades. This is another reason why I love her. It's another example of the innocence of a child's heart.
She was looking at horses, wasn't she?
She thought they had walked into a Mardi Gras parade
Oh, that's so cute. That's so New Orleansy.
because
I thought you were gonna say she was like loving the horses or something.
she looks at her mom and she says, did we run into a Mardi Gras parade? Because she says in Louisiana, you're accustomed to driving and then accidentally running into a route and you got to sit in your car and wait for the parade to go by.
Right. Yeah, that's
And so she said in her mind, she felt like God was like protecting her from the seriousness of what was happening, making her think that it was a parade. And her mom was like, yeah, it's a parade. We're waiting on
Aw.
a parade. Right. So it was actually hundreds of people that had gathered at the school to protest this desegregation. And I didn't know this until I had
So,
researched it. Okay.
pause.
Yes.
So like hundreds of like adults that first of all,
Oh,
why are you not at work? You
well,
took off work for this?
we'll get in we'll get into that.
It makes you just want to go back in time and slap a
And
few
slap
people.
people.
Go
Like,
to work.
we're going to talk about those pieces of crap.
Okay.
But she pulls up, and at the time, it wasn't just at this school that people were outside waiting for something to go down. Everybody in this school district knew they're integrating 2 schools, but they didn't tell the public which 2 because they didn't want to incite a riot. So people, like not even the teachers of the schools, knew which schools were going to be integrated until that day. So all of these people were not just at this school, they were at all the schools across the district waiting to see if it was their school that was going to be integrated.
Okay.
It's now time for this segment of our podcast called Stop Embarrassing Yourself. You're pronouncing that wrong.
What's the word of the day, Katie?
My word is nakatish.
And if you look at it and say it, what is it?
It looks like nachitoches.
I say Nakatochis.
Some people do say nakatoches.
Mm-hmm.
but it is Natchitoches. It's a city in Louisiana, and it is spelled Natchitoches. Natchitoches.
And it's super old, but it's
Mhm.
very cute, very quaint. And that's where they do the like
The lights,
Christmas
the
lights
Christmas
and
lights.
stuff.
And it's
Yeah.
also where the
Oh,
movie
Steel
Steel
Magnolias.
Magnolias
Oh
was
yeah.
based out of.
Truvy, Dolly Parton.
hmm I don't trust, what did you say? I don't trust anybody that does their own hair.
Correct.
And there's no such thing as natural beauty.
If you ain't got nothing nice to say, come sit by me.
So I thought the other day, I thought about it.
We could hand out t-shirts saying I slap Weezer Boudreaux.
Clarie, are you high?
Clarie, are you hot? That's my favorite thing ever.
The part where they're watching this lady at the wedding reception dance, and she says, I bet you she spent
She spent $800 on that gown and didn't even bother to wear a girdle. Looks like two pigs fighting under a blanket.
That's it.
You have Remember the Titans? I can quote that movie all day.
You've got that movie. So yeah.
Oh man.
So the word is Natchitoches.
Mm-hmm.
And back to your regularly scheduled program. So, and again, it was to keep people from like
starting
a riot. And people were waiting to ultimately take their white children out of school if their school ended up being the one that got integrated, which they did do that. And I also want to make sure I mention a couple of other children, because Ruby was not the only child on this day that integrated schools in New Orleans.
Okay.
And we're focusing on her, but I think it's important to note that 3 other young girls did that same exact thing the same day. Ruby helped integrate William Frantz Elementary School.
Okay.
3 other young girls, Tessie Prevost, Leona Tate, and Gail Etienne, integrated McDonough 19 Elementary. And the group is now known as the New Orleans 4.
Cute. Okay.
Ruby, again, is just so wildly famous, again, for a lot of reasons, but also because of the Norman Rockwell painting that ultimately ended up getting published.
Right.
So when Ruby drives up to this school and the crowd then sees these police cars and all of this police presence, everybody's like, oh, shoot, it's this school.
One. Yeah.
Marshals then escort her directly into the principal's office. They go through the front doors of the school, directly into the principal's office. They bring her straight there. They close the door. And it was so she could be assigned to a class. As soon as they did that, all of these white parents rush into the school building. And Ruby says she could see adults pass without kids, past the glass doors, then come back holding the hands of their kids and leaving. Every single student was taken out of the school by their parents that day.
Every single one?
Every single one.
Let them.
Yes. Every single student was withdrawn from school that day, except for Ruby.
For a little girl going to school. It's just...
And she could see all these angry people, but she still did not know what was happening. Because again, she's 6. Nobody told her what was going on. She just thought she was going to a fancy new college. Right?
Right.
So her and her mom wait in the office for what seems like hours, because the principal and everybody else is dealing with all of these people withdrawing their kids and doing all this craziness. So finally the principal comes in and just says, you can leave. School's dismissed for the day. Because...
So that sweet little angel baby didn't even get to go to school that day.
And Ruby says she remembers thinking, dang, college is easy. Right? Like...
Right.
Which again, I love that, because she's just protected by her childlike
innocence.
Wonder. Going, well, dang, this was real easy. I don't know why people are making such a big deal about college.
Right.
This is not hard. I just walked in here and sat. So they did not realize it at the time, but every single student withdrew except for her on that first day. So here's the second day, November 15th. The city of New Orleans is in a full state of unrest. Crowds had then swelled to massive numbers because now the entire country knew that this was one of the schools being integrated. And people gathered by the hundreds, not just on the second day, but for weeks, every single day that Ruby came to school. And they would hold signs. They were yelling slurs, which, of course, we're not going to get into, trying to intimidate Ruby and her family. They held signs that said things like, all I want for Christmas is a clean white school. Or,
Oh, get over
which,
yourself.
like the person who wrote that sign was like, this is a zinger. Like, thought they were doing something
Oh, kick
funny and
rocks with
creative.
open-toed shoes, you
Right.
piece of actual garbage.
Another one said, white traders, Little Rock slowed you down, but New Orleans will stop you cold. Referencing,
And my girl Ruby said, bet.
Ruby said, not in my little shoes.
Good for her.
This one's rough. And you can find pictures of this on the internet. Someone made a child-sized coffin and placed a black baby doll in it and held it up every day for her to see. And some people yelled that they were going to break into the school cafeteria and poison her food.
That's disgusting.
And
In the words of Papa Kelly, hell
will
cannot
not burn hot enough.
Cannot. That's disgusting.
And
I hope that person had diarrhea and the hiccups that day. That makes me so mad.
And thankfully, the federal marshals took every single one of these threats very seriously. So they made Ruby's mom make her lunch every day and bring it to school. So Ruby didn't even get to go to the cafeteria to eat.
So it's not like going to school is even fun for her, obviously. No. Like she's not even getting like a child experience. She's
by herself. She ate lunch at her desk every day that her mom made for her. She didn't even like get to go to the cafeteria and have that experience like we all did. And when I like look at these pictures as an adult, because I remember looking at these as a kid, looking at these as an adult, I'm seeing it in a different way because one, most of these protesters were grown women. When you look at these pictures, and they were titled like in the newspapers, cheerleaders, because they were young, white, working class moms.
Not at work.
Well, because most women who were mothers did not work back then, right? But they were standing in front of these schools trying to block the paths of these kids to get there. They would spit at the kids, cuss at them. They slashed the tires of the cars that were there, all kinds of stuff.
And I'm going to make a blanket statement and say not one of them were decent mothers. Nope, no excuse. Can't be.
It's like,
cannot be. If you're going to treat a child like that, you're not a good person.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, y'all, you can't be like ugly and racist.
Exactly.
Pick a struggle.
I thought if you're racist and ugly, I thought you just go into a ball of flame.
Like you can't be mean and ugly and tacky.
Exactly.
Pick one. But these women they were there for weeks, every day for weeks and weeks and weeks. And
honestly, if I'm Ruby, I'm so glad I bother y'all that much.
Right.
Like,
and
she lived in their heads rent free.
Some of y'all that are from New Orleans and have family from New Orleans, y'all better look at these pictures and make sure that Aunt Ida or great grandma Shirley Mae or whatever ain't in some of these pictures. Because I would be embarrassed. Like, yelling at a little girl who's just trying to go to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, again, like you said earlier, our brains can't fathom it.
No.
I literally can't.
Well, we were raised right.
There it is.
Like, mom and dad did good with that because they were quick to say you definitely ain't no better than anybody else.
No.
So.
In fact, you're worse.
Literally.
Work on yourself. But it's hard to look at these as an adult because you're like, these are mothers who have babies that are this age. If you can even
give them that title, but sure. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. I'm so mad.
Go get a job. Go literally do anything else with your time.
Go.
But they went home at the end of the day and were like,
I did something
today.
One of them sat on their couch and crocheted a pillow that probably said like, be the change.
Live, laugh, love. Live, laugh, love, Caleb. Or my favorite, gather. Over the...
No.
If you have a sign in your house that says gather, I'm sorry.
Then, no. My thing
I don't mean to offend anybody.
Please leave by 9.
Please leave by 9.
You used to have a format that said that at your front door.
It says welcome-ish.
Welcome-ish. Please leave by 9.
Please leave by 9. Yeah.
Work.
All right. So let's get to the teacher who taught Ruby, because this, I think, is a very important part of the story. Because you forget, not only did all of the children get withdrawn from the school, all of the teachers quit. Except for one.
I already like her.
Mm-hmm.
Her?
Her. All of the teachers quit except for one because they refused to teach black children.
Boo-hoo.
Oh, I'm sorry. So this teacher's name was Barbara Henry. She was from Boston and her husband was in the military. So they moved to New Orleans when he got stationed in New Orleans.
Okay.
Ruby said when she got there on the second day that the school was completely empty. And she walked to her first grade classroom and there was Miss Barbara Henry. And she remembers thinking, she's white. I've never had a white teacher before. Because she said in kindergarten, all of her teachers were black, like she was.
Right.
She was also really nervous because her new teacher looked exactly like the women that were yelling at her outside. And so she, at first, was kind of scared of her because, again, she's 6. She's like, I just walked through a sea of people yelling all these things at me.
That hate me,
who
want me to die.
Who look exactly like you. And now you're telling me you're going to be my teacher and I'm in here with you by myself? Like,
that's scary.
That's scary. But she said that right away, Ruby learned to like her, that she made her feel safe and she made school fun because you have to keep remembering they were there. It was just the two of them. Do you know how hard that probably was to teach to listen to the same person by yourself all day for 8 hours?
Yeah, I do it to you all the time. It's horrible.
It's hard. But over time, Ruby said she saw her as a safe haven.
So Barbara is a genuinely good person.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%. Because Barbara actively said she went to the administration and was like, is this school going to be integrated? And they thought that she was saying she was going to quit. And they were like, this is possibly one of the schools that are going to be integrated. And she's like, great, I want to be here.
Good for her. Go Barb.
Yeah, Barbara from Boston.
Good for her, man.
And so she thought of her as her safe place because Ruby said once she got into the doors of the school, away from everybody screaming at her, she knew she was going to get to Miss Barbara and she was going to be safe. So that entire year, Ruby was the only student in her class.
Good.
So they did PE in the class.
Nice.
They ate lunch together in the classroom because it was also like safety purposes. Like they could only stay confined to this room.
I would be afraid to go to the bathroom. Like,
right? On the best of days, you're afraid to even do something as simple as that.
That's horrible.
In the episode of the podcast, A Slight Change of Plans, which this was from 2022, Ruby said this about Barbara. This one got me. She was different. And the beauty of it all is that I made a friend at 6 years old that I'm still friends with to this day. She is still my best friend. Oh. And there's a picture of them when they're both older together. And it's the sweetest thing. Today, Barbara is 92.
She's alive?
Mm-hmm. To my knowledge, she is still alive from what I could find.
Her.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I love this too because we've talked about this amongst our family and our mom is a teacher. And it's like, I believe in my heart this is something our mom would have done.
Oh, yeah.
Like
100%. Dad too.
Oh, yeah. But being that our mom is a teacher.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to think how brave of that person to be the only person in the whole building.
Right.
That is like, nope, I'm going to stay.
Exactly.
Don't care what you think about me. Don't care what you think about my family. This is what's right. I'm going to stay.
Right.
You can go slash my tires. You can go do whatever you want. I'm still going to come back every day.
Yep. And historically speaking, the majority, usually wrong.
Well,
historically speaking.
In this instance, obviously.
Oh, 100%.
Looking to supercharge your next event or promote your business with a splash? Say hello to Romano Promo, your ultimate partner in all things promotional. Whether you're planning a company event, a giveaway, or just need that extra spark to get your brand noticed, Romano Promo has got you covered. From custom branded merchandise that turns heads to creative solutions that leave a lasting impression, they've got everything you need to make your promo dreams come true. Imagine this. Your logo, sleek, high quality, on items like stylish drinkware, trendy apparel, or cool tech gadgets that everyone will love. Like our recently released Big Bad Boot t-shirt. Romano Promo's got the swag that not only looks great, but also builds your brand's presence in a way that's memorable and effective. And guess what? They handle it all, and they really do. We can personally attest to this.
They really are some of the easiest people to work with.
They handle it all from design and production and delivery, so you can focus on what you do best. We literally gave them our fonts, our logo, and said, we want a really soft Comfort Colors t-shirt in one of these colors. Can you help us design a t-shirt? And they did. They got back to us in like 6 hours.
They were amazing.
So they're on top of it. Again, I've worked with them for years, and we can personally attest to the customer service, attention to detail, the creativity. Plus, they're just like cool people.
Yes.
Their whole staff across the board is cool people.
I'd
So
get blitzed at Chili's with them for sure.
they're going to take that as an invitation when they hear this. They're
Can't
going to
wait.
they're going to be like, "Hey, we're here for Chili's."
Perfect.
So, plus, again, they're all super cool people, and isn't it always more fun to work with people that bring the good vibes? You'd rather that than calling a 1-800 number,
right?
So whether you're a business owner, an event planner, or someone who just wants to make a splash, Romano Promo is your go-to for all things promotional. So don't wait. Head over to romanopromo.com. That's ROMANO promo.com. Boost your brand with Romano Promo, where creativity meets quality.
Live, love, Romano Promo.
Live, laugh, love Romano Promo. We love you guys. We're getting down to like the aftermath.
This is a good one.
It's a good one.
This is a
Told
good
ya.
one, Papa.
So after this happens, of course, over time, more kids, excuse me, come to the school, white kids. Slowly, everything gets integrated. I have something stuck in my throat. I'm sorry.
Period.
Jonah said I have a rougarou in my throat. Okay. But Ruby's parents and her extended family did suffer for her family's role in this. Her mom lost her job. Her dad, again, a Korean War vet who worked at a gas station, he got fired.
Which, if that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what will. That man is a veteran.
The local grocery stores and markets refused to sell them anything. Now, the NAACP, helped them out a lot, but they advised her dad not to go out and look for work for his own safety. And Ruby said that in itself caused a lot of tension because I was the oldest of 8. And at that point,
my Lord,
he was no longer able to provide for his family. So for a long time, we were solely dependent on donations and people to help us. And even her grandparents, who were all the way out in Mississippi, were forced to move off of their farm.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. And she said it caused a lot of tension, and it eventually caused her parents to separate because it was just so much pressure. And she said she didn't even think her parents knew the gravity of what they did. That
I hope they did before they passed.
I think they did.
Okay,
years later,
yeah.
obviously. But Ruby said, I remember writing a letter to Santa Claus and asking him to get my daddy his job back.
Oh,
and that he didn't have a job because of me. And I'm like, Rubes,
That's
baby,
horrible.
Yeah,
That's so sad.
I love Ruby. This is another part of the story that really gets me. She said that over time that white kids eventually came to the school, but it was like maybe 4 or 5 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So she said the next year in 2nd grade, she had a few more kids in her class, and she was so excited because she'd been by herself for a whole year. And so she finally had kids to play with. And again, she understood like these kids were white and she was black, but she was still like, what's the big deal? Because kids don't understand. They just want to have friends. And she said she has a like vivid memory of going to try to play with this little white boy at recess. And he tells her, my mom says I can't play with you because you're black. And she said that was the day that the blinders came off.
And she, like, racism.
And she realized what was really going on. And she said that cements in her, and she's famous for saying this, let me find it, her exact quote, that racism is a grown-up disease.
It is. No one is born racist.
Yes.
You're not born any type of
you
racist,
don't have any
homophobic,
kind of,
transphobic. You're not.
You learn that.
That is a learned behavior.
And she said that over the years has stuck with her because it just proves that she felt that little boy was trying to say, I want to be your friend.
But I can't.
But the grown-ups tell me I can't, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
And that just really stuck out to me. But over the years, of course, it gets better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ruby's bravery and the bravery of the other 3 little girls that integrated the schools have been cemented in many ways. First, of course, was the Norman Rockwell painting, which is like if I could have a copy of this printed painting, like I would put this in my house. I love it.
Do you want that for Christmas?
If you can find it, I would love that. That would be great. And get it framed because I'm not getting it framed either.
I got it.
But he published it, and it was published in a magazine called The Problem We All Live With. And like I said, it depicts her being escorted into school by the U.S. Marshals. It is world famous.
Oh, I can see it in my head right now.
Yeah. And there's like in the background, there's like tomatoes stuck to the wall because
Yeah.
people were like throwing tomatoes and eggs and all kinds of stuff. In 2011, President Barack Obama borrowed the original painting, The Problem We All Live With, for a special White House exhibition to commemorate Ruby Bridges and invited her to come see it in person.
Good.
And she said when she met him, she was so nervous because, again, she was in the White House.
Yeah.
She's meeting the president.
Right.
And she said that he walks up to her and she sticks out her hand to shake his hand. She's like, "Hello, it's nice to meet you." And she said he put his hands on his hips and said, "I'm not shaking your hand. I'm giving you a hug."
Oh.
And that there's this picture of them looking at the painting, and he tells her, "Because of you, I would not be here."
Right.
Right. And it was just this really cool moment. And there's pictures of this all over the internet. It is awesome.
Right. Because, I
And-
mean, I don't care who you are, who you vote for, what political party. Like, the fact that we had a black president is awesome.
Based on the history of how our country has been.
Exactly. Like, that
Yes.
is
It's amazing.
amazing. Poetic justice.
And she also has a ton of other notable achievements and contributions to society, a ton, but I'm just going to name a few for
Okay.
time's sake. So in 2001, she received the Presidential Citizens Medal of Honor from Bill Clinton.
Okay.
In 2014, a statue of her at 6 years old was erected in front of William Frantz Elementary School.
Seen it.
She's also written several books, one called Through My Eyes, and then another called Dear Ruby, Here Are Hearts. And she also started the Ruby Bridges Foundation, which hosts a national walk to school day every year on November 14th, which raises money for programs for kids.
Love that.
So if you'd like to sign up, you can visit rubybridges.foundation to go sign up for that. I wanted to shout that out if anybody was interested in participating in Back to School Day.
Walk to school day.
I'm sorry, National Walk to School Day.
Period.
But I think we should end with her quote that she says in many, many interviews, "Racism is a grown-up disease and we need to stop using kids to spread it."
Boom. Get vaccinated while you're young.
That is the story of Ruby Bridges, the civil rights icon of New Orleans.
That was high five.
Yes.
That was good.
Ruby. I love everything about her. She's the cutest little thing. She has an Instagram. She has a website.
I'm literally going to go follow her right now.
Ruby, if you're listening, we love you.
Please let me take you to dinner, please.
Yeah.
That is
You're the coolest
awesome.
person. I wrote a book report about you in the 4th grade, and I'm pretty sure I made an A. So
Oh my gosh.
isn't she cute?
is
Yeah,
precious.
she's cute.
Oh, I want her to be like my friend.
And she was such a cute little girl too. Like in the pictures, she's just like so bright-eyed, and her little like white shoes and her skirt, and
Yeah.
I think we forget, even at the time when I wrote the report, that it was in Louisiana.
Yeah, because that really is. I mean, I know we're a Louisiana podcast, but that's such a minor
Detail.
of the
Right.
story.
Yeah.
Because I do love that it happened in the deep South. for
Another
sure.
thing too, though, which is sometimes hard to think about, that happened when she was 6. She's now
Mhm.
69 years old. That's not that long ago.
No, that's what I said earlier. It's not at all. It's horrifying.
Right.
Like, that's so scary.
Like some of these people, a lot of these people that were there are still alive. So it's just a testament to a lot of things. Bravery of children,
Mm-hmm.
of teachers in our education system who are fighting for the right reasons.
Right.
All of that good stuff. I love that story, and I'm so happy
That
that
was a
she's
good one.
a piece of Louisiana history.
And killing it.
Yeah.
Just still.
Yes.
That's great. I loved that.
Thank you, buddy. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, that was a very wholesome one. Makes you feel all warmy inside.
Do you have any other thoughts?
No. Nothing comes to mind.
Have
It
you
was
been
good.
watching anything lately other
Um,
than Big Brother? Which if we talk about it, it's going to turn into a Big Brother podcast. and I
No,
don't want us to do that.
So I've been recapping the latest season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, so I can get ready for.
We could not be more different when it comes
Dude.
to consuming media sometimes.
Salt Lake City. I love them so much.
'Cause
Heather Gay.
You know what
Heather
I've
Gay
been
is my favorite
rewatching?
person. What?
Mindhunter on Netflix. The show about the behavioral science profilers on the FBI.
I've seen that before.
It's so good.
I just like trash TV.
Sometimes
I love it.
that's what you need. I like Below Deck for that same reason.
Oh, Below Deck
love
is
Below Deck.
awesome. I do love Below Deck.
I fully think I could work on a yacht though.
I couldn't.
Not as a, what do they call it? Interior crew. Like
no,
I don't want
you'd
to.
want to be like a bosun.
I want to be like pulling up the anchor.
Yeah, setting out the sea toys for the day.
Yes, I don't.
No.
I don't want to serve anybody drinks. I don't want to.
I couldn't do it just because, like, fun fact, I get homesick even in my elderly age of 27.
Mm-hmm.
I still cannot be away from, like, you, mom, dad, Michael.
You never
for
liked
more than 10 days.
spending the night away from home
Ever,
as
no.
a kid, and I'm the
still
opposite.
to this day. When I went to Italy, flew to Italy by myself.
I'm surprised you made it back.
I'm surprised I made it there.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for me meeting my best friend there, but anything more than 10 days, I'm like, I want my mama.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
I could. I was a gypsy. It's like, can I come spend
No.
the night at your house? I'd sleep on the floor. I'd sleep on the couch. I don't
No.
care. I love a trip. I love taking a trip, Airbnb, hotel, but I also do like my house. But
No.
I wonder why you're like that. Was it something I did?
According to my therapist, it's just anxiety that presents itself a different way.
Is it because I made you watch a scary movie too
Probably.
soon when you were younger?
Probably.
I'm sorry.
Your fault.
Is it because I made you watch Scream?
No, Heffa, it was it. And I didn't sleep by myself until I was in like 5th grade because of it.
Hiya, Georgie.
Oh my God. And I actually tried to conquer that fear. I dressed up as Pennywise.
Did it work?
No.
Oh.
Fully didn't. I had like the wig, the like face paint. I put on press-ons
I remember.
for that Halloween. Still, nope.
See,
Still scared
none
to death.
of that bothers me. It never has. When my husband is gone for a work trip, I watch scary movies to go to sleep. Like, it does not bother me. I took Caleb to see Longlegs, and
Stupid.
we could not have had two different experiences. Two more,
So stupid.
like, we walk out, we
Ugh.
get in the car, and I'm like, okay, did you see this part? This was a symbol for this, and this was a symbol for that. And and Caleb just going, I hated every second of it.
I didn't understand it.
I didn't understand
I
it.
can still hear Nicolas Cage going, cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
No.
It's so good.
No.
You just don't understand art.
Whatever.
You-
Wrap it up. I got a TT potty.
Okay. And before we wrap up, quick shout outs. Thank you to Romano Promo. We love you guys. Thank you for providing us with our Big Bad Boot t-shirts, our Big Bad Boot
Which sold out
stickers.
within minutes.
sold out within
of
minutes.
Our launch
We're ordering
party.
more. Don't worry.
We are.
And we're working on, with Romano Promo, getting like a merch store,
Yeah, like trying to
developed.
figure out.
the
What to do,
logistics.
yeah.
They're the experts. They're going to figure it out, not us. But thank you, Romano Promo. We love you guys. Y'all are the best.
And this double chin was brought to you by Batter Bakery.
It 100% was.
It's amazing. Abby, please stop bringing your treats to tennis.
no,
love you so
don't
much.
stop.
I'm going to be 500 pounds because of Abby Caswell.
But that's why you play tennis.
It is. I love Batter so much.
It's good.
I can't eat enough of her adult cosmic brownies.
And she's opening a second location in New Orleans.
Oh, yes, right across from the Virgin
Mhm.
Hotel. That's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a good one.
I'm excited. Y'all go down to downtown Hammond and get y'all some batter. You
I
don't know what you're missing.
Told her when she opens the New Orleans location that we would do a live episode there,
Ooh,
Jonah. So just to let you know.
That'll be fun. We can pay
Cookies
you
will
in
be
hugs and cookies.
Cookies will be involved.
Thank you.
But all right, thank you guys, and remember, God made you.
And the Rougarou too.
Be kind to one another.
Bye.
Bye.
The Big Bad Boot is produced by Lettuce Media and edited by Mallory and Jonah.
Our music was produced by Macro Tracks. Our super cool logo was designed by AWC Graphics. And our sense of humor and childhood trauma was sponsored by Kelly and Abby Morse.